What's up, Fire Nation? If you're here, it's because you don't play small. Fire Nation is for the ones fueled by passion, driven by growth, and hungry to build real wealth. Not just for yourself, but for your family and future generations. This isn't just a channel. This is a movement. And if you're watching, you are already part of it. I'm Miss Blue Fire, always taking you higher. Let's light it up.
Boom, DJ Dreadbeard. You have tuned in to the intellectual side of YouTube with Miss Julia, A.K.A. Miss Blue Fire, always taking you higher. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to support the channel, Super Chat is appreciated. Fire Nation, march out. Boom, DJ.
What's up, Fire Nation? If you don't play small and you're here to build, you're in the right place. I'm Miss Blue Fire, always taking you higher. Let's light it up. What's up, Fire Nation? If you don't play small and you're here to build, you're in the right place. I'm Miss Blue Fire, always taking you higher. Let's light it up. Blessings. Let me know if you can hear me. Hold on there. Blessings, everybody. Happy Saturday. Garnet, big up yourself. Time come. Big up yourself. Big up yourself. Time come. Everybody, as you come in, please like the live. We have a great show planned for you today. I hope you're having a great Saturday. My goodness. It's good to be alive. It's good to be here. It's good to be able to share with you guys. I hope you guys are having a great weekend with your families and you're enjoying yourself. So today we have a really good show because we are going to talk about marketing, right? And the positioning of Alkaline and how that also, well, stay for the lesson. I'll keep you on your toes. So the question is, the big question is, what does Alkaline and 7-Up have in common? But before I go there, hi, Dr. Rambo, good afternoon, sir, good afternoon. Before I go there, time come, I saw what you left on the messages and I had to delete it, right? I don't want you to call, you basically were saying that I shouldn't give this any highlight and people from Vendetta always dissing me and stuff like that. Time come. We can't live like that. First of all, right? The program is called The Business of Dancehall. So if I see something that a dancehall artist is doing that I know because I've been taught about it and I research it, you're telling me that I can't teach it to people and to all the people that listen to this channel or who might listen to this channel, especially up and coming artists, just because of the fact that there's some people from him camp who him don't even know that don't have no self-control or want to diss me, and it's not even the main people. That's the thing. That's why I tell you, everybody have a phone, even crazy people, right? So you can't even blame the whole camp for some of the actions of some of its members, because in reality, the camp is big. And not everybody acts as a unit, as you can see. Right? So, you know, if you want to stay and learn, right? But we're not going to disrespect the artists. I mean, none of them have ever, well, I don't know, but I think you'd have more respect if you knew what it was like to actually write songs, go on a stage, perform, and actually live that type of life, right? So regardless, you know, I don't have to fit in. I don't have to be like everybody else. I still can teach about what I see, and I can still give what is due. The question is not if I am the same. That's the problem. Time come. Everybody expect me to be like the same. You're not going to get that out of me. If I see a better way or I see a way that suits, make it sustainable to me and my life and lifestyle, that's what I'm going to do. So the question is not, is she the same? The question is she effective? That is the question. And if I'm effective in giving the message, and I'm effective in making sense and bringing highlight, even to our artists, Vibes Cartel, then I think we're looking at the wrong thing, right? So we're going to continue with the lesson. Time come, bless up yourself. I appreciate your presence here, but I had to address it because you know what? If you wrote that, other people might be thinking that as well. So it's good to just nip things in the bud as they come. You're here to learn, right? We can learn here, right? And you never know who it might help. So let's continue. Let's talk marketing. Let me pick up the chat first. Clip Cartel, best up yourself. It's a long time I don't see you, Clip. Good to see you. Good to see you. So let's talk marketing. What Alkaline and 7-Up have in common, right? So this is the core claim for this entire live. Alkaline's rise was fueled by opposition energy, not just alignment. Now, look at the word that I use. I didn't say caused. I said fueled by opposition energy, not just alignment. If he was under Gaza, he would likely not have reached the same level of impact. That's not the only part of it, right? We are going to break down what most people miss, the marketing psychology behind dancehall dominance, why Vibes Cartel is still the axis of the culture, and how Alkaline built his brand like the on-color strategy used by 7-Up. So this is not just music talk, but of course it's going to include Vibes Cartel. This is business, Fire Nation. This is branding, and this is cultural strategy. And the fact of the matter is, none of this would have worked for Alkaline if he wasn't talented. All right? So we're going to get deep into it because you know mermaids love the deep. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Right? Also, what we're going to talk about is what Garnett said he's not even remotely close to being the most talented. He implemented his strategy smartly. I never said he was the most talented, Garnett. You're changing the argument. I never said that. I said it wouldn't work unless he was talented. So a lot of things work for him. And we want that. You want things to work for you. All things should work for you. Why not? So, industry axis. So we're going to break that down, what it means to be the axis in an industry. That's what cartel is. Right? We're going to talk about the power of opposition, why opposition can be more powerful than alignment. We're going to talk about Alkaline's rise, and I have his timeline as well. We're going to talk about some key moments and some strategic positioning that he did that I've noticed. I also have references for you guys, so you guys can look up this. And I made it very easy for you to go and search it for yourself and look it up and think about your other artists too, and see what strategies you can, see would be effective for your artist. We're going to talk about the cartel effect and how dominant figures shape the entire market. We're going to talk about the on-color strategy and how it applies to the dancehall landscape. And we're going to talk about, that's right, it's one GK. That's right, stationed and rotating. And not only that, he's the axis, right? And the other, and in the wheel, what's the spokes? We're going to talk about that. The spokes is going to be, I'm going to tell you. Big up yourself, Chinchilla. Big up yourself, one GK, right? So we're going to talk about the on-color strategy, right? How it applies to the dancehall landscape. And we're going to talk about identity-based fans, how fan bases are built through identity, not just music. And I spoke about that before when I was talking about Gaza Nation. But we're going to go deeper today, right? So the argument is why and how Alkaline benefited from being the anti-cartel. And he was definitely the anti-cartel. He has contrarian energy built. That is what built his core fan base. And we're going to go into it. But here's the arguments, right? He has the strategy of identity. Alkaline didn't just gain fans. He gained identity-driven supporters, right? So just like, in dancehall, we have the fan bases that are very tribal, Gaza versus Gully, etc., right? So Alkaline was actually filling a vacuum. Because when Cartel dominated, there was a vacuum formed for opposition against him. There was. People wanted an alternative voice because not everybody was going to be for him. He's very polarizing. That's what great figures are. Is either you love them or you hate them. You hardly find people neutral, right? So people wanted the alternative voice, the counter force to Cartel's dominance. Okay? So identity polarization creates loyalty in fan bases, right? Fans weren't just listening to Alkaline, they were taking a stance. I am not Gaza. I am Vendetta. I am not following Cartel. Only sheep. I am backing Alkaline, right? So the result in that, them have stronger loyalty, stronger ties. There's more online defense. There's more emotional investment, right? And remember, we spoke about the identity fusion theory in action. And I'm going to give you the references so you can go in and you can search this for yourself and have your own reading, right? Now, Alkaline is very talented. That's why it worked. If he wasn't talented, he would just be opposing Cartel and just be making noise. Another hater, right? Now, if he was under Gaza, he would not have that opposition identity. He wouldn't have a movement feeling, right? He would just have passive consumption, basically, right? So here is the identity conflict framework. Vibes Cartel is the axis, right? He creates dominance, saturation, and expectation within the cultural sphere. Alkaline, opposition, he generates contrast, curiosity, and a distinct alternative identity, right? The Vendetta movement that led to the Vendetta movement that fosters extreme loyalty, a tribal mentality, and fierce defense. That impact of all of that is market influence, right? So he has his deep cultural influence and he has his longevity. And as you can see, he has high demand from him being so quiet. It's facts. He doesn't show himself often. So when him have a one night arena, everybody wants to go and see him. It's facts. Now, conflict is also attention in dancehall. I want you guys to go back in history, right? And remember, dancehall thrives on rivalry. It thrives on clash. It thrives on tension. Alkaline versus Cartel, directly or indirectly, it creates debates, comparison, and constant conversation, right? If he was Gaza, there will be no rivalry. There will be no narrative tension. And there will be less reasons for people to rally behind him. They will love him for music, but it wouldn't be an identity thing. Now, he did become a leader, not a follower. If he was under Gaza, he would be under Cartel shadow. It's facts. But outside of Gaza, he built Vendetta as its own empire. Now, what does that allow? Independent branding, his own ideology, and his own fan base structure, right? That's the key reality here. Dancehall rarely allows two kings in one camp. Two bull can be in one pen. These are facts. Go back in history and look at the groups that broke up. You think about it. Think about the branch offs. Right. So the marketing positioning that he did with his talent, again, we're not saying his talent is not the reason, because he couldn't do this without talent, right? But his positioning was very smart. And that's what I wanted to say to you. When an artist is on axis, the other artists or his co-workers position themselves to him because he's the center, he's the axis. So they either they oppose him, they align with him, right? Or they try to stay as neutral as possible and stay out of him way. Always. Stay quiet. Why? And that is why you see people always comparing their artist to Cartel. Because he's the standard. For work ethic, for all of that. Yes, him slip up now and then. Which artist does not? He's not AI. He's a human being. You see what I'm saying? Right? Of course, he might put out something that we don't like. And that's okay. We're not cheap. We can disagree and say, okay, we didn't like that line. Or we don't like that song. Or why you drop that song now? Because we're independent thinkers. Right? Yeah, we're not afraid to do that because for the one that we don't like, there's actually 99 that we probably love and other people too. Right? So anyhow, everybody, so he's the bar. So that's why people keep on comparing themselves, comparing their artists to him because he is the center. So they position themselves. And if you think about it, when he first came out, everybody was like, what happened? Oh, dancehall so quiet. What happened? Everybody call up. What happened? It was almost as if they're waiting for him to make a move to position themselves even more to what he was doing. That's what it felt like to me. I may be wrong. I may be wrong. Right? But you cannot deny he's the dominant voice, the dominant force. He is the axis. Okay, good. So Alkaline's marketing position is very smart. He uses his talent, right? He uses talent, but he's very smart with the marketing. Because Cartel was the dominant voice, Gaza was the dominant faction. It was. There was a space for a clean, calculated, mysterious rival figure. Alkaline stepped into that gap perfectly. Where he did no interviews early on, direct coded messaging, and strategic silence. This only works if you're outside of the system. That's what Vendetta tried to. That's what Vendetta is part of them brand too, right? The anti-energy is actually a growth hack. It's controversial, but it's real. Many early Alkaline fans were not necessarily anti-cartel personally, right? They're not anti-cartel, but they were anti-cartel dominance. There's a difference. There's some people that them couldn't. They're not anti-cartel. They're not them hating like sir, you know who, right? But them just not like the fact that him so dominant, like all them sick of him, type of thing. There are people like that. And they wanted the balance, they wanted the competition, and they want a new leader. So supporting Alkaline became a way to challenge the throne. And also they like his music. Disrupting dominance is the ultimate market entry strategy. And you know what's funny? Cartel did this too in his own way when he first entered. So we're going to tie it all in together. I hope you guys are paying attention because this is so interesting to me. Oh my gosh, I had so much fun doing this. And I'm going to have the references for you. You're going to, like, honestly. All right. So the alkaline phenomenon. Strong talent plus smart positioning. He used contrast to build his identity, attract the anti-dominant fans, create the movement. He didn't fight Cartel. He redefined the space around him, right? So now the naysayers, some people would say, but Miss Julia, Alkaline would be big regardless. I have to think this way because remember the lesson, what we always say over here, think from the other side of the chessboard. So we're thinking from the other side of the chessboard here, right? And he goes, well, Alkaline would have been big regardless. Right? He has hits. He has a unique sound. He built his own lane. Right? Correct. Miss Bluefire's response is correct, but let's go deeper. Talent gets you noticed. Positioning gets you remembered. These are facts. Without Cartel, there is no strong contrast. There's no urgent identity split. There's no Vendetta versus Gaza dynamic. Right? The meaning, Alkaline would still definitely be successful, of course. But the impact would be very, very, very different. He would be less symbolic and it would be less movement driven, right? Alkaline and Vendetta's presence became, and they still are, a cultural counterweight. Not just a musical alternative, they're a cultural counterweight. Right? Now, Cartel did not create Alkaline, of course not. But he created the conditions that made Alkaline hit differently. It's facts. It's facts. Blessings, state, blessings, right? Blessings. Exactly, Garnet. A lot of people were tired of Cartel being number one, right? So we're gonna tie it into to 7 Up. Now, could Alkaline have still succeeded under Gaza? Yes, of course, because he's a talented youth, but differently. If under Gaza, he may have gained faster exposure. That's true. He had the cosign credibility. True. And he might have the early stage boost. Definitely true. But he would be less polarizing. He would be less independent. And he would be less culturally symbolic. These are facts. Fire Nation. Right? These are facts. More like a strong artist, not a movement leader. Right now, he's a movement leader. Now, this is the Uncola analogy, right? This is the masterclass here. Alkaline didn't just grow because he was talented. He grew because he represented opposition, identity, and balance, right? He gained, if he was Gaza, yes, he would gain support, but he would lose his purpose. And in dancehall, purpose is greater than proximity to power. There's a whole heap of people that close to power and them don't have the purpose. And so them don't stand out. Exactly, Garnet. The branding would be left. It would be less effective. That's right. Now, remember, there was the cola wars going on during this time. Celebrate with Pepsi against Coke. They were fighting all the time. All the time, they always have campaigns against each other, right? And then now, 7-Up enter the building. So 7-Up say, you know what? I am not even fighting you guys. I am the on-caller. So in the 1970s, 7-Up launched one of the smartest positioning campaigns ever. We still learn about it. I learned about it when I just did my postgrad at Humber, right? Them still teach it because the smartest positioning campaigns ever, the on-caller. What's the strategy? They didn't try to beat Coca-Cola. They didn't try to beat Pepsi at being cola. They won by saying, we are not that. So they have all of these branding. There's no cola like the on-caller, right? Remember, this is funny because remember that they had the taste test when they covered up the Pepsi and covered up the Coke and got people to taste it and which one is the right one. Blessings, Mr. Gaza. Blessings, Mr. Gaza. Right? Good to see you. So he launched as the on-caller. We are not that. Another thing is Coca-Cola and Pepsi, they were found to have caffeine. So it wasn't safe for babies. So they use that as well, right? So before we get there, right? What on-caller really means, it wasn't just a slogan. It was psychological positioning. And what you're going to learn is it does not matter what people intend. I don't want to hear Alkaline fans say, oh, but he must just be in himself. It doesn't matter. You know what? What matters is your positioning in the people's minds. That's marketing. Big up Philip, big up TG Meter, big up, right? It wasn't just a slogan, right? It was psychological positioning. Coke and Pepsi were dark, heavy, dominant. Listen to me. I'm talking opposites here. That's why I use red and green. Coke and Pepsi was dark, heavy, dominant. 7-Up was light, different, refreshing. So instead of competing within the category of cola, they redefined the soda category, right? So let's show how Alkaline brilliantly did this. Vibes, Cartel, and Gaza, the Coca-Cola of dancehall because he was dominant. Everybody wanted him. Alkaline, the on-caller of dancehall. That's why he positioned himself, right? Dominant brands exist first. Before Alkaline, Cartel already controlled the narrative. He had the strongest fan base, and he still does. He defined the sound and the culture, just like Coca-Cola defined cola. Go back and look and remember, guys, go back in history. Please don't forget your history. Everything ties in. Everything ties in, guys. Everything ties into our to music, right? You cannot out cola Coke. So 7-Up understood that we can't beat Coke at being Coke. Alkaline situation, you can't out Cartel. So if he tried the same lyrical lane or the same kind of identity or the same system, Gaza, he will lose automatically. Right? Now, funny enough, Cartel did this too. He's the original positioning king. And I must be honest with you. It was in researching Alkaline and reading up more that I made this connection. So that's why it's good sometimes to sit with your work because you learn too. You make connections that you didn't make before. Now I'm going to show you how Cartel did this too, right? He repositioned what a dancehall artist could be. Cartel's positioning started. Cartel did the same thing as 7-Up did as well, just like Alkaline, but earlier in the dancehall ecosystem. Think about it with me, please. When Cartel rose, dancehall already had legends, right? They already had established sounds. They already had traditional identities. Cartel, he didn't just compete. He repositioned what a dancehall artist could be, right? Cartel essentially said, I am not traditional dancehall. And he showed it through his lyrical boldness, the controversial topics, the visual transformation with the bleaching and the tattoos, the relentless output, and the direct engagement with the fans. Here's the fire truth. Cartel wasn't just an artist. He was a category disruptor, just like 7-Up and just like Alkaline later on is. There is such a thing in every industry. There is such a thing as a category disruptor. Right? These are facts. Now, so 7-Up said, we are not cola. Alkaline said, I am not Gaza. So, and this showed up in branding, Vendetta versus Gaza. I'm going to show you. His energy, calculated versus loud. Persona, mysterious, Alkaline versus outspoken, Vibes Cartel. Strategy, silence, Alkaline versus saturation, Cartel. It's facts, right? 7-Up on Cola was built on being the perfect alternative to the giants, right? The core strategic values is authenticity in distinction. We're not Cola. We're not Gaza. We're Vendetta. We're not Cartel. We're Alkaline. The clear identity positioning, right? And the contrast-based branding. Now, this automatically happens whenever there is an axis. Whenever there is a powerful figure in any industry, the opposition is automatic. They don't have to create opposition. The opposition is automatic. There's always going to be people that want to go against it or against them. Right? So, a little bit of history. The cola wars, they were going on for decades between the soft drink manufacturers, right? Pepsi and cola, right? 2010, Coca-Cola took the share, right? The Coca-Cola company and Pepsi, them incorporated each other as top contenders, right? So 7-Up entered a world already owned by Coca-Cola and Pepsi. They couldn't win by matching them being darker, being stronger, being more cola. The genius move was identity built around the contrast. We are the on cola. We are not you. And they call it the family drink. Why? Because it didn't have caffeine in it. Big up yourself, Same Flame. Big up yourself, Mr. Gaza. Oh, it gets deeper. Right? So the psychological separation, 7-Up strategy wasn't about soda. It was about carving a distinct mental space in your mind. You know it. It's still there. Sometimes I feel for a Sprite or a 7-Up. I don't feel for a cola. It's a part of it is, yes, is your taste, but a lot of it is in your mind. The positioning strategy, clear versus dark, light versus heavy, refreshing versus intense, alternative versus dominant. They didn't fight Coke head on, people. They didn't. They made Coke irrelevant to their audience. In other words, they made Coke irrelevant to 7-Up's audience. In other words, you only need us. You don't need them. They're the dark ones. So the family drink, so pure, so good. It's transparent, right? So wholesome for everyone. It's not wholesome for everyone. It's sugar. But at that time, it didn't have caffeine. So guess what? The babies could drink it. And they had an ad with a baby drinking it. Think about it. Why does this matter for Alkaline? Because the Cartel already established a dominant identity like Coke. And he had a defined cola. He was a defined cola in dancehall. So what happened next? The market creates a space for an on-cartel. And that's where Alkaline comes in. The space was there. Axis, Vibes Cartel, the center of the wheel, dominant identity, represents dominance, saturation, cultural control, and an established system. On cola strategy, differentiation. Strategy, don't compete, differentiate. Strategy, redefine the lane, attract the anti-audience. I want all the other upcoming artists who are thinking about their career to think about this. This is why I'm doing this, you know. It's not about who you like or who like who. It's a matter of looking at what you can learn from, even from people with whom you disagree, or even from people who is not in your. Learn from everybody. Learn from people, and teach it when you know it. That's how we all get better. right? Good. Every culture has an axis, as I said to you before. You beat it by becoming the alternative to it. And I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you. Just stay tuned. It gets better. Right? Good. Vendetta positioning. Alkaline represents. What does he represent? Opposition, mystery, controlled presence, and an alternative identity. His movement, identity and loyalty, tribal alignment, anti-dominant sentiment, market differentiation. That's the branding positioning if you study them. Right? That's strategic market redefinition. So I'm going to show you the references and you can look it up for yourself. Now, the impact, the strategic positioning, right? This is the perspective. Fire Nation, this is how the game actually works. Every culture has an axis. In dancehall, that is still cartel. Now, here's the mistake that most people make, right? They think you beat the axis by competing with it. No, you beat it by becoming the alternative to it, but you have to be as good at it or better. That's the key, right? Good. We talked about that. So here's the full chain. Cartel established dominant identity. The culture saturates around that identity. Audience splits. Not everybody wants that energy, as Garnet said. Market gap forms. Alkaline fills that gap as contrast. A lot of things are timing, people, right? A lot of things are time. They talk about timing in somebody busting and becoming a star. Is a real thing. Things have to work together. That's why they always say that when the stars align, right? Big up yourself, Trey. Big up yourself, Wayne Patterson. Big up yourself. Didn't see this before. Facts, but it gets deeper. It gets deeper, and it's so. I love it. I love it so much. I love doing this for you guys, with you guys. Sorry, right? So here is the contrast train. Establishment, cartel, cola, access, saturation, blah blah blah. We did that already. Disruption. Alkaline come and disrupt. He is the uncola. Tribe formation, the identity, fan base, the people who didn't want to be a part of Gaza or didn't want to be a to let them rule. The result, cultural impact. So he does have his own cultural impact. We cannot go around it, and we shouldn't want to. He's a Jamaican artist. Might not be your artist, but he represents dancehall, right? Right. So you don't beat the system by joining it. Depends. But in this competition, when it comes on to your own identity, you don't, right? You beat it by giving people a reason to choose something else. It's just like kind of like politics. Okay? Talk about this. Without cartel, his positioning becomes less sharp and less symbolic and less necessary. We spoke about that. Right? Yeah. So again, 7-Up didn't just sell soda. They sold to people who didn't like cola. I'm repeating it because I want you guys I want you guys to catch it, right? Didn't like cola, wanted something different, wanted to feel distinct than the rest of them, right? Alkaline did the same. His early fan base included people tired of cartel's dominance, people who didn't identify with Gaza, and people who wanted a new identity to follow in dancehall. Different, Garnet. We're gonna keep it nice and peaceful over here, please. Yes, you're throwing shade. That's the bad still, but still. But anyway, you can troll. Why not? Trolling is fun. I like to troll. I'm a big troll to myself, so you're good. You're good. But we just keep it respectful, right? Good. So different gives you stronger loyalty. We talk about that, right? So because when you choose the uncaller, you're making a statement, right? You're making a statement. There's more defense online too, and there is more cultural tension. Cultural tension is brilliant positioning, right? So here is the marketing that I'm teaching. Dominant brands create their own opposition by default. I mentioned that before. I'm glad I wrote it. Dominant brands, my people, my Fire Nation, Jenko people. One second, let me take a sip. Dominant brands, my people. They create their own opposition by default because they're so great. People have to react to them. They have to. It's facts. Not intentionally, but structurally. And listen, some of us have experienced that. Come on, people. Come on. Think about it. Sometimes you're so good at what you do, or you're good at your job, and you find people competing with you. You're like, I'm not even competing with you. Like, what? Competing? What are you doing? Oh, you're competing with me? I didn't even realize that. Seriously, happens all the time. Dominant people like him, that's dominant brands. They create their own opposition by default. That is why, and everything ties in, my Fire Nation. Everything ties in. I want you to see it. That is why, if you're going to rise to success, you have to have a very big tolerance of not being liked. You can't give a you know what, because it comes with the territory. And if that is something, a price that you cannot pay, don't bother even enter the race. Have the capacity to be misunderstood. You have to. That's what I tell you all the time. Sometimes you have to turn your back to the audience. The other day I went to a concert, right? And it was classical concert. And I was just thoughts like this come to me sometimes. I'm just sharing with you, right? And the conductor, the choir was towards us, of course. The choir and the sorry, the instruments, or everybody who was playing, the band, they were towards us. And the conductor was there, of course, directing them, with him, directing them to the music. And I said to myself, this is a perfect picture, because that's how I think. I think in pictures. I said, this is exactly what it is. You have to turn your back to the audience in order to run your show sometimes. Let the people look on and enjoy the music that you're creating. Sometimes that has to happen. Same analogy. They just out of the blue. I was like, that's the same thing I've been talking about. Right? His back is to the people, to the instruments that need, his front is to the instruments that need to move, and his back is to the crowd. Sometimes it has to be that way. You have to have that tolerance. So, tied all together, reason being, it happened normally. It happened by default. If you're a dominant brand or a dominant person, you're going to have opposition by default. There's a vacuum there that's created. Okay? Good. Sorry for that long story, but I share. Good. So, it's structurally just because they exist. Cartel don't have to compete with nobody. People going to always compete with him. Yes, facts. Even deeper, advanced insight. Let's go deep like the mermaid. Opposition brands are not weak. They're dependent on the existence of dominance, though. It's facts. Not saying that Alkaline is dependent on Cartel. He's talented, as I said before. So don't twist my words and run on social media and give me devil horns again. But you can give me devil horns. I don't mind. That actually was funny. But listen, so it depends on an existence of a dominance, because nobody would care. If you're going after, or if you are the opposite of somebody that don't matter, who cares? Nobody cares. Right? Good. So 7-Up needed cola to exist for the marketing strategy to work. And Alkaline needed that dominant system to contrast for that marketing strategy to work. Right? Good. Now, 7-Up benefited from the existence of Coke and Pepsi. Every cola ad reinforced the need for an alternative. That's brilliant. Every cola ad, every time Pepsi or Coca-Cola did an ad, it made people think about the opposite. It's facts. It's brilliant strategy. Dancehall and Alkaline. Alkaline benefited from Cartel's dominance, of course. Opposition is not weak. It is dependent on dominance. There is no cola like the on-cola. Good. Now, here's the dancehall ecosystem flow. Hi, Luke Clark. Blessings, blessings, blessings. And Chinchilla said also there was that underdog effect going for him. Cartel gains fans from that effect. That's right, Chinchilla. That's right. That's right, Chinchilla. That's right. No, he was the aggressor. That's true. But because he was basically the new one, or the one that was supposed to fail, Garnet. Let me put it that way. That's what Chinchilla mean. He was supposed to fail. Look at blessings yourself. I'm glad to see you here. Everybody and all the people in the bush people, please like the live. Okay, here is the dancehall ecosystem. So take a picture. What you need to do. Cartel system, the access, dominance. We talk about this, right? Clear standard of top artists. Clear standard, even work ethic people. Okay. Pressure on the market. Not everyone identifies with the system. Then there's audience fatigue. I'm gonna show the references for all of this. This is how opposition happens. This is marketing. So this is the same thing that you work with business, it work with music, it work with what you see in cartel and alkaline situations. Let's continue. So because of his dominance as an axis, he puts pressure on the market. Pressure on the market meaning not everyone is going to identify with him. A lot of people not going to like him. The audience fatigue begins because he saturates, and desire for contrast grows because people want to anti him. Alkaline was the response, different identity, mystery and silence, controlled visibility, and strategic contrast. You know, he did a lot of things, strategic contrast, for people to even compare him to him, right? So the differentiation moment, this is not that. Clear alternative is created. Fan base identity. I am not Gaza. That tribalism that we have in Jamaica, we have it built into us from a Pitney, the PNB and JLP. Emotional loyalty. And there's this defense culture. Ride or die. We have that. What's the result? He has a strong core fan base. People like him for music, of course, but it's deeper than that. That's why his fan base is so active and so strong, because his core identity. Every set of people identify with their artists for different reasons. These are facts. There are a lot of people right now who identify with Cartel because of his reasons, and other people don't have those reasons. These are facts. Think about it before you argue. So, result: strong core fan base, cultural relevance, longevity through identity, and high demand presence. Because, right? Now, watch this carefully. The system, Cartel created the system because it was a standard, right? Dominance, saturation, control. That creates pressure because not everyone wants the dominant thing. Not everybody wants Coke. The catalyst. So what happens next? A response is born. The entry, Alkaline steps in. The strategy, not to copy, but to contrast, or to pretend to copy, but make it to use it as a contrast in conversation. He did that too, right? The result and the contrast creates something powerful, identity, the movement. And once fans feel like they're choosing identity, you don't just get listeners, you get a movement. From system to movement. Went through that. Cartel created the system, Alkaline created the response, and Alkaline fans turned that response into a movement. Talked about that, so we're going to move on. Now, we're going to talk about Cartel being the axis of dancehall. This is my master claim, and I'm going to show you how I know, and prove it to you. And I'll give you the reference too. An artist like Alkaline position themselves in proximity to him, whether in alignment or opposition. Not because they have to copy him, but because he defined the center of gravity. That's what the axis is, the center of the wheel, and all the other spokes position themselves to what he's doing, or to who he is, to his symbol. Even if they don't like the man, listen, even if they don't like the man, is what the man represents. Right? Right? Just like how I was saying, okay, let me explain it a little bit better. The other day I was on Dancehall War, right? And we're talking about Lady Saw. And I said what she represented and what she proved that women could do in dancehall, changed it for women in dancehall. Regardless if now she demonized dancehall, regardless if people say, I don't know how, well, this is what I've heard as well, but people say she never really helped a lot of the women artists, right? It don't matter what she do individually, She as a symbol, right? The fact that how she went, she went toe to toe with the men, right? The fact that she changed the what women could be mentally in the mind. Remember, marketing is all in the mind, right? What women could do in dancehall mentally, regardless of her personal act, she was still a symbol. It's just like when Bolt ran that number. And when he ran that number, guess what? There's a new number for somebody else to aim to break. That's what happens. Right? So both being as great as him, break that number. And guess what? Other runners say, Rotty, that's possible? That number possible? I'm gonna go behind, I'm gonna go below it. Now them have something to aim at. These are facts. Same thing with sports. It's all about being an axis. Why do you think dancehall and business any difference? It's not. Let's continue. Right? So here is the demonstration. This is Vibes Cartel and this is the axis. Take a picture or do what you want to do. Right? The spokes are other artists and movements. Gully, right? Vendetta, right? The analogy. Think of dancehall like a wheel. The axis, the center point, everything spins around. The spokes, the different artists and the movements. Cartel is the center. He dominated lyrical influence, built the Gaza movement, controlled the conversation for over a decade, and set the standards for engagement. He does and he still does. So let's make this blue fire clear. Cartel is the center because he, what am I do? Where you going? Okay. Dominated lyrical influence, build a Gaza movement, control the conversation. Yeah, we did that, Julia. Where you going? Good. So every artist then position themselves relative to the axis. This is the picture that I wanted you guys to see, actually. This is the one. Right? There are only 3 positions to a system like this. Right? What happened? Yo, Garnet, you really have some mad people on the internet, you know. Why? What happened? Anyway, okay, don't distract me. Okay, listen. So, I'm going to talk amongst myself. I'll look after. So, listen. So, every artist must position relative to the axis. So, is either them align with the axis, them follow, them co-sign, or them stay within the system, them align themselves to Gaza, right? Them align with it, or them oppose the axis, them create contrast, rivalry, and an alternative identity, or them distance themselves from the artist, neutral, independently. Them try them and them stay out of them way. Them just quiet, right? These ones never usually get a lot of attention. It's facts. It's facts. These ones never usually get that much attention because the conversation is all about the axis, what's aligned with it, or the opposition. Okay. Now, look, listen. I don't want to bring any mix up over here, please. If that's what's going on here. You hear? You guys just respect the chat. You guys, as I said, read the bottom. We don't have everywhere else to fight. Learn here and fight over there. Please. We have to make it sustainable for me. If you like the lessons, you want me to continue, right? Wherever I go, peace follow. Just learn in peace. Can't learn without upset mind. Bless up target for us. Let's continue. Right? So Alkaline chose the most powerful one, opposition. He didn't join Gaza. He didn't stay neutral. He positioned as the on-cartel, the on-colon. That is very, very smart marketing. Right? Good. Good. Now, here's a timeline to prove some of this. Alkaline's rise is important for Fire Nation to investigate. 2013 to 14, emergence and shock value. Initial impact. He breaks out with the early tracks and the controversial visual. Remember him of the tattoo eyeball image, right? Immediately, what does that create? Curiosity, division, attention, right? This is classic disruption and an entry strategy. This is the strategy. Disruption, entry strategy. It's a strategy, guys, in marketing. Cartel did that same disruption entry strategy too. So it's not necessarily like some people think that he was copying Cartel 100%. I look at it a different way. I think he was just using the strategy. It just so happened that Cartel used the same strategy. Right? This is classic disruption entry strategy. A lot of brands do this. That's what 7-Up did. Disrupt it. Oh, everybody talking about cola. No, here, on cola. Deal with it. Disruption entry strategy. Right? Now, 2015 to 2016, the identity formation, strategic growth. He establishes the Vendetta as a movement, not just fans. He gains a strong youth following in Jamaica. Right? Clash era comparisons begin with Vibes Cartel, even indirectly. What did I write at the bottom? Yeah. So that's where the opposition, the identity, and the loyalty thing begins. Remember, I was giving you that before, the time, the flow. Right now, breakthrough. 2016 to 2017, breakthrough and mainstream dominance. Drop major hits, The Champion Boy and Ride on Me. He wins the Mobile Award, Best Reggae Act 2016. Global impact, not just local success. As somebody to watch. International validation too. Right? Right? That identity help too. Important. Transitioning from local star to global icon. Right? No, there's a consolidation. Everything come together. Consolidation of power. Album, New Level Unlocked 2016. That impact carried forward. 2019 top prize, critically strong. Right? What's the impact on the establishment? Consistency, album level credibility, and touring demand, because he was touring. Everything came together for him. The stars align. Sometimes the star align for people, right? Plus them have a talent. Okay. Now, 2020 to the present, him have selective dominance. Why I mean selective? Him have a strong fan base, but you hardly see him. The high demand shows because guess what? You don't see him. So the scarcity does help. Him have arena level pull. He does. Especially in Jamaica and the diaspora, you can't go around it. That is scarcity marketing. So when everybody was saying, oh, you know, and I said, listen, they don't know that this is scarcity marketing. Yes, of course, that's going to help people to go to the shows. Of course, because people miss or they want to see him. They haven't seen him and they don't know when next they're going to see him because he's so scarce. It's facts. It's facts. The image, though, he definitely copied. Yes, Garnet. A lot of people say that. Right? And sometimes that's also marketing strategy. If they're that smart, they know what they're doing. Maybe it worked for him without him knowing, because guess what? When he did that and people accuse him of that, right? That made them want to pull away even more. That made them want to oppose even more and say, what? No, sir. He's not doing that. He's opposite of that. That's also a risk. That's the response that they want, that he wants. You understand? Maybe him don't know what him doing, but that is the effect. You must always look at the effect of something, not just the act, and see if it can be intentional with everything else that the person does in their pattern. That's how you have to look at people, right? In a lot of ways, when you're studying them. Shouldn't give you too much secrets, but it's facts, right? Look at the action, yes, but look at the effect of that action. Okay? Now go deeper on who the person is and look at what their patterns have been. See if it's something that's familiar. Try to figure out if it's intentional or not. Either way, the effect matters. Okay, good. So, scarcity, marketing, but it's evidence. Yep. People say it is. Yes, it's evidence. So that's what I'm saying, look like. Right? It could be that it was on purpose to have people talking about it. And when people talk about it, they will make them want to be anti-cartel even more. What I'm saying, I don't think you understand what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it might be intentional. Right? The man do shock value. You think he wouldn't be smart enough to do something like that? Think about it. To have everybody talking and saying, oh, I copy him, I copy him, I copy him. Him copy him, copy him. And then have him fan base react that way. Even more anti-cartel. They do that. It's marketing. It's all in the mind. And what them put in your guys' minds. It's facts. Maybe him don't know what him doing, but that's the effect. You have to look at the effect. What was the effect of that? When everybody in Gaza and everybody else was saying, oh, him copying. What was the effect of it? They pulled away even more and said, well, no, we don't want to be nothing like, It's facts. So it works. It builds on it. It's psychology. Exactly, got it. And that's why I want you guys to read some of these. That's why I handpicked these books, because, I want you guys to read some, like, read the art, read the art of war. Right? Read Sun Tzu. Read the laws of power. It's not evil. It protects you. Read all of them. As a matter of fact, you know what? I'm going to give you a list of my favorite war books, because you see that things don't change and there's different battlegrounds. But anyway, we're going to go into that after. Let's finish the lesson. You guys are distracting me. Okay, let's continue. Right? So, Next. So Alkaline, it does deserve him credit, right? Because him didn't just rise because of opposition. Him have sound quality, consistency. He does have brand discipline. He has control, visibility. He's not all over the place, and him have a strong fan base loyalty. You can't go around it, right? Now, how him execute the uncola strategy? The mystery versus saturation. His positioning was amplified by Cartel's existence. Cartel constant presence, even when he was locked away. Alkaline control silence. That creates intrigue through calculated absence. People who are rising, people who want to be artists, look at the strategy. Not saying it will work for you, put some doubt all the same. Look, you have to have talent too. You have to know what you're doing, right? But this is also a strategy, right? When you come onto your branding. Good. And some people sometimes you're just busy, you just can't be there, right? So calculated versus loud energy. Cartel, expressive and reactive. Alkaline, composed and quiet. It feels like an alternative personality, right? Movement versus movement. Gaza versus Vendetta. Same as Gaza versus Gully. Not artist versus artist. Identity versus identity. When a dominant axis exists, your fastest path to relevance is contrast. Not saying that he would not be relevant. I don't know. I don't have a wishing ball. I don't have a looking ball. Right? But it helped. That's why I said fuel. I didn't say create. Remember, I said that at the beginning. Good. Now, this is a premium position in scarcity. Less output is more demand because it's higher perceived value. This is a key marketing law I want you guys to always remember. You should look it up for yourself too. There's references at the end, right? Fire Nation, when a dominant axis exists, the fastest path to relevance is contrast. Even now, Fire Nation, artists are still compared to him. They're measured against his influence. They reference his legacy, even now. That's why he is still the axis today. People still use him as the bar. Good evening, Cerebral. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Big up yourself. Big up yourself, State. Hey, you say he won the mobile. I think I made a mistake there. I think I meant to say nominated. Yeah, that was a mistake, State. Right? So, Cartel is still the access today. So, whether people support him or they compete with him or they ignore him, they're still positioning around him. I'll say this again. Whether people support him, whether people compete with him, or whether they are ignoring him, what are they doing? They're still positioning around him. That is a clear sign, say he is the axis. Still now to this day. Right? So now, here's a deep insight. Cartel, Alkaline is not orbiting Cartel enough. Don't think he's orbiting Cartel. He is positioned against the orbit. But the orbit still exists. Right? So that's a critical point. That is a critical point. Right? Alkaline didn't grow despite Cartel. He grew this big because Cartel as an artist and his position to him existed. Right? Just like 7 Up didn't grow despite Coke, it grew because Coke dominated. Right? It grew because Coke dominated. Now, what if Alkaline was cola? Again, there will be no differentiation. We went through this. And there will be no psychological positioning. There will be no identity movement. It will be kind of weak, right? And he will be replaceable. If he joined Gaza, he will be replaceable and comparable and secondary. Because he will be secondary, right? You'll just be another brand. But it wouldn't work out anyway, right? It wouldn't work out. So, if you can't be number one, you don't compete, you redefine. You become number one in your own lane, right? So Alkaline didn't try to outstream Cartel or outproduce Cartel or out Gaza Cartel, right? Cartel was already the category king. Alkaline was the category disruptor because of what Cartel established, right? And disruptors in business, even in music, they don't win by copying, they win by contrasting. So yes, even though people say he copied him at the beginning, I believe a lot of it was to help the contrast, to have the pull, to have people more saying, being more anti-Gaza, right? And to use it as conversation, right? Shock value, right? Going against the grain. And he can't go against the grain unless there's a grain to push against. And Cartel is the grain. Cartel is the grain, right? No, we're gonna talk about Massacre. Massacre doing a different type of strategy. No. We're gonna he tried that, but right now it's different. And I'm gonna talk about him too. We're gonna go deep dive into him. Right? Jamari Davis and Miss Julia, nobody yourself I try to figure out the young lad, pick up yourself. Listen, man, we have to look at what these gentlemen are doing and teach people. We love dancehall, we want it to continue. We keep talking about we love dancehall. Where we see strategies, we need to teach about it. It's not just for us. We can't one and don't clap. Right? We have to do good for the culture, especially us out here who are teaching people. You understand what I'm saying? Don't pay attention to the people who tried this year and blah blah blah, whatever camp them come from. A lot of these people cannot. I can't control what Fire Nation people do on them own time. But I would hate for you to use what Fire Nation people do and beat me. I'm not trying to control people. You crazy? I'm here busy trying to control myself. Right? It's the same thing with the artists. You understand? So you're not going to bait me into vendetta people. You can't say all the worst thing, and it's not even the main people. That's the thing, and that's the funniest thing because the people at the top are always the nicest people. It's true, right? If you deal with them properly, it's facts. Even in business, it's facts. When you get the insecurity and the madness, that's from the people who, Anyway, let's continue. So you need a grain to push again, and Cartel created that. Alkalines, look at even his image. Let's talk about his image. Mysterious, calculated, but here's the key: oppositional to what? Right? Good. Here's the marketing truth. You cannot be an anti in a vacuum. It requires a dominant force to react against. Anti-hero needs a hero. The disruptor needs a dominant player. The uncaller needs a caller. Alkaline's anti-image had power because Cartel existed. It's facts. Big up Miss Jacobs, my sister. Big up my sister. Big up, big up, big up. See, when me I talk about that is why I'll forever say there is only two fan base in dancehall: Gaza Nation and Cartel. Well, on a free to troll. I hear you. Right? So, strategic brand archetypes. These are brand archetypes. This is a lesson, right? The establishment Cartel, the challenger vendetta. Okay? Now, we spoke about this. I just made it pretty. I am not Gaza. That's powerful, right? Fans wanted to balance the culture, a challenger, the alternative. We spoke about that, right? We spoke about this too, right? The fans need an alternative. They need to choose sides. So without Cartel, somebody will have to step up and be a Cartel in some way, right? No, look at it. This is the paradox. Cartel's presence helped to amplify Alkaline as well, right? Because in the black Alkaline, he made it more relevant. Because every time Cartel dominate the conversation, every time Cartel drop music, even now, every time Cartel control the narrative, right? It creates a need for counterpoints, debates, alternatives, right? And Alkaline became the main counterweight. It's facts. And Massacre tried at that too, as Garnet was saying, right? Without Cartel, therefore, there will be a different career trajectory, or maybe there'll be a different person who would be Cartel as a symbol in the space. Who knows? I don't know. Right? Let's be clear here, because I don't want anybody to twist my words. Alkaline would still be talented. He would still make hits, and he would still have a career. But he likely wouldn't be as polarizing. He wouldn't. He wouldn't be as symbolic. He wouldn't be as movement driven. He would be more like a successful artist, and he would not be a cultural position. right? Don't call him blind. Well, blind's not so bad, but no B wash, okay? But blinds is all right. Blinds cultivate. That's right. That's right, Wayne Patterson. That's right. Right? So Alkaline's talent built his music, but Cartel's existence shaped his marketing position. It's facts. These are facts, Miss Bluefire. I love saying that. So the next pages I have reference for you to verify and for you to learn on your own. No, but we have some mix, right? So my argument, people, and to all of you people who went to try to be naysayers, is not just opinion. That's why I keep telling you. Everybody keeps about opinion, opinion. Not everything is opinion. We need to have a shared reality. I spoke to you guys about a shared reality as human beings in this world that we have to have. Okay? We have to be able to agree on certain things. The sky is blue, gravity will pull you down, the ground is hard. We have to have a shared reality. Not everything is opinion. Some things have to be fact. Without the fact, there is no truth. We can't discern it. Right? So my argument is not opinion, it's fact. And I'm going to show you and I'm going to prove it to you. No, it's backed by positioning theory. This is a real theory. You can look it up. It's backed by the differentiation theory. That's another theory in marketing. You look it up. Identity-based marketing. I went over that very, very thoroughly in one of my other lives talking about Cartel, right? Right? And the Gaza fan base. You can go back over that live. I think it's what is the business of dancehall. Go over those two lives. And I talked about consumer psychology. These are things in marketing. You have to understand consumer psychology, why people buy, why people attach. You have to be able to understand people in order to serve them. Right? So here are your references for your own study time. So this book here is very good, right? The battlefield for your mind, the battle for your mind, right? It proves that marketing is and I'm going to give you some stuff that you can search on the internet because I did both, right? It proves that marketing is about owning a position in the mind. It doesn't matter what your intention is. That's why they say give a dog a bad name and hang him. Because if people think certain things about you, they're going to expect you to do certain things. It's facts. That's what marketing is owning a position in your mind, in the person's mind. Do you know? Think about it. All right, let me give you another one. Kleenex. Kleenex is the name of the brand, you know. But guess what? Every time when people want a little tissue, what them say, especially in America, you have a Kleenex. Kleenex now became the name or the position in people's mind for the entire waste napkin industry. People say you want a Kleenex, but Kleenex is the name of the brand. There are so many other brands that give you those wipes, right? It's facts. Okay, so marketing is about owning a position in the mind. You don't win by being better with this, right? It proves that you win by being different relative to competitors in a lot of competitions, right? Right? The perception of a brand relative to the competitors. That's the perception is important with marketing. Okay, good. Next book, The 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing. Very good book, right? The law from this book is if you can be first, then you create a new category, right? This argument supports that Cartel was first dominant. Alkaline creates an alternative vendetta category, vendetta. Next book, let's pick it up. We're almost done. Escaping the competitive herd. This is a very, very good one. This one actually helped me when I was doing, anyway. This is by a Harvard Business School professor. Big lesson. The brands win by breaking away from the dominant norm, right? It supports that Alkaline's differentiation strategy, not competing directly with Cartel, but redefining the lane. And he used some of the copying to do that as well. It's brilliant. It was smart. Can't go around it. Blue ocean strategy is another good one, right? You don't compete in a crowded market. You create a new space, create a new lane, right? Translation from the book. Cartel is the red ocean. That's the competition space. Alkaline created the blue ocean, the new identity lane. Next book, Contagious, Why Things Catch On. This is a good one. This is a good one, right? So people share things that signal identity. Okay, like why people press share the share button all the time, right? Because they're sharing with their friends or something and sharing on their post because it represents them or what they think, right? That's why you share things to show that this is funny. I think this is funny, or I agree with this, or look at this. Don't you find this horrific? That's why you share things on social media. Think about it. Okay, so this book here talks about it. When you share things that signal identity, so that helps with sharing your music. The argument from the book proves that Vendetta fans aren't just listeners, they're expressing identity through their affiliation. Next book. This is marketing. People don't buy products, they buy beliefs and identity. Facts. Right? Cartel, his identity, and Alkaline, the identity choice. Different one. Right? The brand gap. This is a good one. A brand is not what people, the brand is not what you say it is, it's what people perceive it to be. So people can't say, oh, I am this, I am that. No, it's what people perceive you to be. That's what's important. You understand? A brand is not what you say it is, love. It's what people say it is. The market will speak. These are facts. Okay, that's why in marketing they say give the people what they want. Okay, good. Now, Fire Nation, this is not just opinion, it's marketing theory. Right? Spoke about that. Okay. Now, according to positioning theory, brands exist in relation to competitors in the consumer's mind. It's true. Brands exist in relation to competitors in the consumer's mind. When you think of paper towel, you think of Bounty, but you think of other ones too, but it's in relation to that. You think of Snuggles, but you think of other ones in relation to that. Cartel occupied the dominant position, right? Alkaline succeeded by occupying the alternative position. So prove it for yourself. I want you to please Google positioning theory by Rice Trout. And then I want you to Google brand differentiation marketing theory. Then I want you to Google Blue Ocean strategy summary, the summary of the book. And then I want you to Google identity-based marketing consumer behavior, but not regular Google. I want you to go to Google Scholar. Okay, so here, look. So don't take my word for it. Go to scholar.google.com and get used to using this. This is very good. You find a lot of articles here. And yes, a lot of it is opinion, but they do have studies that are based on facts. And I want to teach you something. I'm sure you guys know, but I want to highlight it for the young listeners that don't know. So pardon me, right? Look at cited by. When you go on these studies, look at cited by. The more people back it, right, and study it and prove it, the more weight the claim has. Okay, now step 2, you search the exact phrase, positioning theory, market Rice Trout, or you search brand differentiation strategy academics, search this, right? And then search consumer identity marketing theory, search those 3. Okay, go here and then do this, okay? And then after that, you click on the PDF, it should be available. These things update sometimes. Go to the cited by, that links, that shows how strong the research is. Not just for this, for everything else. Every time when you research something, go to the cited by links, okay? So that shows you how strong the research is, right? So you look for definitions, look for the key concepts, look for repeated patterns across multiple sources. Multiple sources, that's what you do. You compare sources. And you look at who the sources are, but you have to compare them. If multiple studies say the same thing, it's not opinion, it's theory. It's a fact. If multiple studies, especially across different timelines, especially from different sources, right, not paid by the same people, not paid by Tyson, right, to try to sell chicken, okay, but different sources, different independent sources too, it's not opinion anymore, it becomes theory. Now, theory can be wrong, that's true, but it's the most solid thing that you have, right? Good. So, well, other than, when you have proof. But anyhow, exact Google Scholar research term. So, yeah. So, the uncola argument, you look that up. Look up position on theory. Yeah. We talk about that. How does it tie in? Cartel occupied the dominant mental position. Spoke about that. Good. Yeah. So, the brand differentiation, I want you to search brand differentiation strategy, academic research. Search this, especially if you're an artist coming up. You're thinking about putting yourself out there more. You know that you're talented. You know that you have good relationships with people. You know that you can work well with people. And you have your identity. That is fine. It's good to have your identity. What is your strategy with that identity? You need a strategy. Okay? So, think about your brand. You have to look about your brand. Yes, it's good for you to be yourself, of course. But you have to think about your positioning and your brand. Remember, positioning is important. Remember, I said to you the other day, the fact that Cartel not even singing any gun song anymore, that's what him said for now. That put Mavada in a really great position because he can take over with him talent. See, you have to have the talent. right? Him can take over with him talent and also the nostalgia from Gully, right? But let's see what he does after the concert. That's what I'm hoping for. But I hope high. So I don't know. People say I'm not going to do anything with it, but let's see. Give the man a chance. Anyhow, so yeah. So what you find here, you're gonna find that brands succeed by being different. Sorry if I'm talking fast, not similar, right? Alkaline, well, people say him copy him. He didn't just copy Cartel. Let me put just here, Julia. Yes, he didn't just, okay? Okay. Even if him do it for what you call it? Shock value. Good. Now look for the competitive positioning relative identities. Search this. Take a picture, guys. It's soon finished. We have like 1, 2, 3, 4 slides left. Search for competitive positioning strategy, consumer perception. You need this, especially you financial people who have your business or you're being an entrepreneur now. You have to think about your branding, okay? Brand identity relative to competitors study. Look up that, okay? So you're going to find identity is formed relative to a dominant player, right? The Lakers and the Bulls. Identity is formed relative to dominant players, okay? LeBron James, Michael Jordan, okay? Argument is Alkaline's identity only makes sense because Cartel existed, and I'm not saying his image. I'm saying what he created in dancehall as the anti-cartel. That's what I'm saying. So I know you love to twist things and change things, right? Good. Anyway, almost done. Consumer identity theory. Look this up. Consumer identity theory in brand affiliation. This is a good one, right? And then look at the social identity theory, consumer behavior brand. Look at it, because you're going to have you questioning a lot of things that you do too. I'm sure if you read them, you're going to be wondering, why am I loyal to this brand? Is it actually better than the other one? Or is it because of the positioning in my mind? It will make you think more about yourself, and it will make you be more aware of your own thoughts, which is very, very, is high up there when it comes to intelligence, to be able to look at yourself, right? Good. You'll find that people use brands to express who they are. And you know why this makes sense? This makes sense too. And even it's true. There's a certain type of people that wear Lululemon. There's a Lululemon crowd. It's facts. Right? Right? Let me say pull off a tiger in the golfer. It's funny. You understand what I'm saying? But it's facts. It's true. That's why it hit. Listen to me. When things hit you, and I'll tell you a little bit more about human psychology, and you're going to find it when you read. When things hit you, it's because there's at least a grain of truth in it. That's why things are funny. Think about it. When things are funny, like a stand-up comedian, when him say certain things that you're like, because there's a grain of truth in it. That's why it's offensive. It's facts. So people use brands to express who they are. Right? So the Vendetta fans, they're not just listening, they're identifying. Good. Now I want you to search dominance and alternatives. Search this, the market dominance and consumer choice alternatives. Choose that. Search that. Search this too. Take a picture. I don't have to read out everything. Look, the argument here that cartel dominance created demand for Alkaline. When what you're going to find, what they teach you is when one brand dominates, consumers seek alternatives automatically. So that is why when you're a dominant person, you don't have to compete. People are normally going to compete with you because you create a vacuum. It's physics, it's facts, it's science. It works, it's true. Hi, Mr. Noble. Big up yourself. Big up yourself. Big up yourself. Big up yourself, Christopher Lawrence. Big up yourself. Wayne Pearson. So, Miss Julia, why blinds fans love shade and shade? High defects. But when we can't control other people. And we can't paint the whole fan base that way. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. People throw. I don't know. I cannot get into other people's mind as to why they do things, right? But that is not our concern. That's not my concern anyway. I don't know why people do things. I don't care. It's just how we react to it. What matters, right? A ship only, a boat only sink if the water gets inside of it. All the water around the boat, all the noise around the boat, it will not affect the boat unless the noise and the water come inside the boat. So that's what I'm trying to say. Let them do what people, and people shade you. Like I could have come out here and this I could, because of I could have screenshot all of the SYM or people, or maybe it's people who knows, right? But you can't. I'm not going to blame beta artists or not give them or not study them because of people in a camp that represent them that them don't even know. And it's not everybody in the camp either. So that's where I'm at with that, right? I deal with people on an individual basis. That's how I am. Um, yeah, but Cartel is my artist, and everybody knows that, right? So, but we're still here to teach. This is the business of dancehall, right? We can't be like everybody else and expect change. We can't. Okay, nobody can be over here and this Cartel. So, but we can control the other artists, no problem, right? But not diss them. I don't want no disrespect, because really and truly they're a part of dancehall and they belong to us. They belong to us. They're a part of dancehall. They're our Jamaican artists, right? And I find the people who diss them the most is the people who never been on a stage or understand what it takes to live that life. I'm not dissing nobody that don't diss me, right? I don't have the energy for it. I have things to do and things to learn. So when you type in positional theory marketing, Rice Trout, what you're going to see is brands don't exist in isolation. They always exist in relation to each other, right? So you think about Popeyes, you think about KFC, right? Two dominant forces there. Okay? Good. So when I tell you, Fire Nation, that Alkaline is the uncola of dancehall, it's not opinion, it's marketing theory. It's now theory, right? So again, Fire Nation, make sure you click cited under any article, because that shows you how many other researchers validated the idea. The higher the number, that means the stronger the concept. Again, Fire Nation, listen to me. This whole session here was not about who you like at all. This is about understanding the system. And once you understand positioning, you realize something. Alkaline didn't just make music, he took a position in the mind of his audience. And Vibes Cartel is still the axis to this day. So I put here, encourage them here about comparisons. Yeah. So Fire Nation, let me talk, not Fire Nation, Gaza Nation, let me talk to you. So when people compare them artists to Cartel, don't get upset. It's proof. Okay, don't get upset. Don't make that disturb you. It's basically proving his greatness. It's proving that in their mind, Cartel is the center, even if they don't want to admit it, because they're comparing to what Cartel do. Oh, him stream better than Cartel this week. Him stream better than Cartel this month. Oh, him get an arena too. Right? These things. And that's fine. It's fine. It's good for people to have ambition. It's good to be the standard. But it just proves that Cartel is still the artist, that Cartel is still the access. It doesn't mean that they're not talented. If it wasn't talented, it wouldn't work for them. They'll just be making noise. Right? But I want you to start to look at it this way. Because of who Cartel is, and because of how great he is, these are the things that come with the territory. Okay? These are the things. So don't let them throw you off. Don't get emotional about it. Right? And just know, so that is just an attestation. That is a testament to the fact that he is the axis of dancehall. I'm Miss Bluefire. I'm always taking you high. At least I hope so. Blessings. Anybody want to call in? You're free to call in if you want. And if not, I will bid you adieu. So let's see. I'll wait a little bit. Let me talk to people in the chat. Big up Christopher Lawrence. Everybody, please like the live before you leave. If you're going to leave, like the live. Mr. Noble, good to see you. Good to see you. Right? All right. As if. Big up, Miss Julia. Thanks for this college. I love it. This collage. I love it. No problem, Mr. Lawrence. Good to see you always. Good to see you always. Cerebra, always good to see you. Cerebra says Sean is a perfect example of that, saying he's stating opinion, but navigate. Listen, I tell you guys, let us not talk about people when they're not here. Okay? Talk to Sean when Sean is on the platform. Please. I don't want, no bad blood or carry it over here. The energy over here is good. I like the energy. I can teach in peace. You guys can learn in peace, right? Can be creative and you can think. And it's only short, just 2 hours and I can't let go of the baggage. Seriously? Just for 2 hours? Seriously, guys? 2 hours, you can't just say, you know what? I'm done it for 2 hours. You have 22 more hours, right? Anyway, nobody is here. Nobody want to come on and call in. Big up on yourself, and I'm going to go and continue my weekend. And I'm thinking tomorrow I might not have the business language class now, but I might. I'm not too sure. It depends. Depends on my schedule. So I'll let you guys know, okay? Thank you for being here. Love you, Fire Nation. You're always inside of me. And I know they're going to say why for that, but whatever. Big up Gaza Nation and every other nation and all the bush people. Big up on yourself. Him said, not even for 2 seconds. What's that, Wayne? What's for 2 seconds? Oh, not even for 2 seconds. Oh, well, I'm going to ask you for just respect my platform and don't do it over. I don't want to fighting over here. Well, stay dark elsewhere. I don't want any fighting over here. So if you have respect for me, you're going to abide by my rules. Big up yourself, Luke Clark. Big up yourself. Later. Bye, everybody.
Fire Nation, listen to me. You don't log off and go back to playing small. You take what you learned and you execute. This is why Fire Nation exists. To rise higher, to build smarter, and to change the financial future of our families. I'm Miss Julia, A.K.A. Miss Blue Fire, always taking you higher. And wherever you go next, you carry our fire with you. Fire Nation, we rise, we build, and we're just getting started.